let's see how the Quran actually takes a look at the introduction to God. So this is one of the important areas. This is verse 172 to 174 from the seventh surah, which is Surah Al-Araf. I'll just read out the text and translation. It says, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ رَبُّكَ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ مِنْ ظُهُورِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَأَشْهَدَهُمْ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَىٰ شَهِدْنَا أَنْ تَقُولُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ إِنَّا كُنَّا عَنْ هَٰذَا غَافِلِينَ أَوْ تَقُولُوا إِنَّمَا أَشْرَكَ آبَاؤُنَا مِنْ قَبْلُ وَكُنَّا ذُرِّيَّةً مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ أَفَتُهْلِكُنَا بِمَا فَعَلَ الْمُبْطِلُونَ وَكَذَلِكَ نُفَصِّلُ الْآيَاتِ وَلَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. And remember when your Lord brought forth from the loins of the progeny of Adam their children, and made them testify against themselves. He said, Am I not your Lord? They replied, We bear witness that you are. This we did, lest you should say on the day of judgment, We had no knowledge of that, or present the excuse, Our forefathers had already adopted idolatry, and we later became and we later became their children. So will you destroy us on account of what these false doers did? And thus do we explain our revelations, and so that they may return to the right path. So you'd see from these verses that this is a this is a real time happening. It's an event that took place before all of us were born. So that all of our souls were brought together and they were made to appear before the Almighty. So remember, this is a real time incident which took place before all of us were born. We don't have any memory of this, but we do have information that the Quran is giving that this incident did happen. We don't remember this incident, but it surely happened. And what exactly happened can be seen from these verses that God actually took out the souls from all people who are going to appear on this earth. And then he said that, well, Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? And every one of us replied, Yes, we bear witness that you are. So, in other words, what is being said is that our own nature is something that is very well aware that we had a conversation with God. We spoke to God. We gave him this pledge so that anyone on the day of judgment cannot say that, well, I was not able to comprehend that God exists. I don't have any justification to deny God. This is something that is found in my nature. And so, therefore, if the Almighty asks me on the day of judgment that why did you not accept me and why did you not acknowledge me and why did you end up denying me? So, no one would have this excuse. So, in other words, what is being said here is that as far as God is concerned, He is an understood reality. He is someone who is found in our nature. He is someone to whom we spoke before we were born. Not, of course, us in the way that we see ourselves today, but our souls conversed with God. And this verse tells us that this conversation was not something of a dream or something that we could have imagined. It was a real time incident. It happened. And the thing that he made sure of that is that no one forgets that God is there. And so therefore, the conversation between ourselves and God was that we acknowledge you as our creator and we do realize that you have created us. Today, of course, when we are born, although we don't have any remembrance of this incident, but when we realize that the surroundings, when we realize the way we have been created, we can think that this must have happened because, I mean, there is no other explanation of this whole wild world being created. There's no explanation of the fact that we as individuals have been created. And not only is all this space-time continuum being created at the same time, there is something that is sustaining it. It's looking after it. So, in other words, had we remembered this incident that it took place, there would have been no test left. Because you see, the test that we now face is that although we don't remember this incident, but when we look at the earth around us, the universe around us, the surroundings that we have, we immediately leap to the fact that there must be a creator of all these things. So what happens is that this inkling that we have, this understanding that we have, is something that corroborates that incident. And we do say, yes, although we don't remember that incident, but it must have taken place because today, when I look around my world, I find it to be to be a thing that has been created, and we must have been created, and we must have had this conversation. And as I said, had we been exposed to God and had we remembered this conversation with God, then there would have been no test, because in that case, we would have remembered ourselves talking to God. So the real test is that we acknowledge Him as our Creator without even having any remembrance of that incident, but we can have a substantiation, a corroboration of that incident in which we know that yes, there is someone. So you see, the message of these verses is that every human being is born with a recognition of God. Every human being has this awareness of God in his own soul or her own soul. What happens is that people who end up as atheists or agnostics, I mean, there are a number of reasons for that, and we will be discussing some of them. For example, there are people who cannot reconcile the existence of misery, evil, and all sorts of catastrophes with the existence of a merciful God. So they say that, for example, if God was there and he still exists, then why is there misery in this world? Again, another question that arises in the minds of people who end up denying God or maybe denying the interpretation of religion is that the way religion is presented to them does not make sense to them. And when things don't make sense to people, they end up denying the source of those things. So these are some of the pleas that a person can have when on the day of judgment, for example, he wakes up before God and he says that, well, I did try to find you, but because of people who are representing religion somehow is not able to even have an idea that God exists. And similarly, I was not able to reconcile the existence of misery in this world to a merciful God. So these could be some possible excuses, although, of course, the final verdict will be with God. It is God who will decide whether a person has this excuse or not. Otherwise, in a normal situation, God says that people can deny many things, but they cannot deny His existence because such is this uh, potent effect and impact that we have in our own inner selves that no one can deny it. So the bottom line here is that the existence of God, the comprehension of God, the awareness of God is something that we are born with. It's not that we acquire it. It's something that we are born with. We have that idea that there is someone who has created us. It's not a process of discovery that we have to venture forth in to find who God is. He is someone who is found in our own nature, who is intuitively found in our own selves, and our own surroundings actually, they do substantiate this. So this is basically what we have to know in all circumstances.